Hey, y'all, Lady TC back in the house. How you doing? I hope everybody's doing well today. Yes, the W is for Holy Watcher. So welcome, chosen ones. If you're in here, you got a calling, and God called on you, and you feel a tugging and a pulling with all this shifting and everything going on. And we are what's called a Chosen One series, and it's fully being utilized over there on the YouTube. So if you want to check me out over there, my handle is in my profile page. It's Lady TC Sings Jazz, but the lady is spelled Ladii. TC Sings Jazz. So you go on over there because there's a lot of videos there, over 100, but they're all just 10 minutes each. And we cover all subjects. I give testimony and we talk about all kinds of the knowledge and aspects of going into 5D and opening up your POW, the light of the body. Some refer to it as the third eye. And we are into Christ consciousness, and we're on a journey with opening that up. And all star seeds and light workers are welcome here. I covered the blood types as being chosen ones and what it means to you. So you could check out my series. Like, there's over 100 videos. I am back on talk after a while. But with Talk, it's new account. There was two of them, and starting all over again. I listed all the changes going on here, and more things I'm finding out since it's just been re-uploaded and stuff. I'm good with YT until something else comes along, but I do like creating my videos here, and I love the people here. So I'm gonna continue getting my page going here with newer material and referring y'all over to there ultimately for all the stuff. So I was just completing a 5-part segment on grounding. And apparently I said something they didn't like, so I already got a first strike on my new account. Okay, all right, to be expected. And what I even said was, I ain't even going to go there because whatever. I get it now. I really get it, especially considering someone revealed now what happened during those blackout 17 hours. And what's up with TikTok now today, and who really is in charge of everything. That makes a difference. It sheds light on it and how it all still does tie into other pages that many of us were trying to get away from. So, like I said, YTUBE, Lady TC Sings Jazz. Okay, so I'm going on. I will remake that 5th part series for grounding, but I'm going to make it and put it on the YouTube, so it will be there for y'all. Just give me a minute. I started on in this shadow work. I talked about it a little bit before, but I'm going to get in depth to it, how it relates to you, and you can make a sound decision whether it is for you or not. I personally prefer meditation and then just releasing intentions, as opposed to messing around with shadow work. One who has experience in psychiatry, psychology, taking courses in college and stuff. And I used to see a psychiatrist in my earlier years because I endured some childhood trauma that I had to deal with. So I reviewed it, and personally, it's a fine line there. So we're going to get into that and discuss it. And it might be a couple videos, but it shouldn't get that lengthy. So Carl Jung, J-U, I don't know if you pronounce the J like a Y. I think people say Carl Jung. But he's the author, and he's the one that coined the phrase shadow work. So shadow work, what it is in itself is, did I put that here? What it is in itself is a method that people use, and what it does is dives deep into your inner self and has you examine yourself looking at your shadow. Now, the reason I have some qualms about it is because in demonic possession, it is said that, like, I'll give you an instance. I'm a big movie buff. So the movie The Conjuring, when the psychic came to the house because they called her there to help her because they knew the house was haunted, blah, blah, blah. She gets there, and as soon as the mother and the kids start talking to her, she sees a shadow right on their back immediately. And she don't say nothing until after she does her full reading. And then she tells them, listen, I saw this demonic spirit attached to y'all and the kids, and it's attached to it. It was a shadow hanging right there. So to me, that's something you don't want to play with, because it's not just about it being your ego self. It's more than that, and it can be attached to other things. We've even seen videos where things like that people said they could see it in there. And it just moving away from a person or coming rising up. I mean, those could be CGI. I don't know. Allegedly for educational purposes only. Anywho's. So things that they claim the shadow work is about. It's the hidden part of you that believes that until you are a certain way or until you become a certain person, you are not good enough and you can't be happy. Its whole game is to convince you that right now something's wrong with you and right now you're incomplete. And if you're unaware, these things can send you into a spiral cycle that gets you to try to obtain things that are out there. So, but here's the thing. There's always going to be something else out there that we don't have yet. So there's always going to be something else to create. There's always going to be something next. So anytime you let your shadow run you and do the show, you may be disappointed. But when you allow your higher self to run the show, you are content with what is while being eager, ready, and excited. That's just one person's point of view. What Carl Jung says is it's a place between our conscious and conscious selves. What he calls shadow work is profound. One does not become enlightened by imaginary figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. It's the process, shadow work, in making the conscious, shining a light on the parts of ourselves we'd rather keep hidden. It starts with observing our habitual behaviors, especially those that seem to arise without our conscious control. Meditation in this is a valuable tool. So it goes into a lot of things. Okay, so this other person gave his point of view of being that shadow work has some negative connotations, which is what I really want to let you know about. So with self-improvement, habits with God, and self-healing detachments and letting go. Shadow work is tapping in. It's looking at parts of you that's ugly. No one tells you the light examining it is to work. You need to work on it, about to fix it, the body, the mindset, the problem solving. But looking at self-healing and self-acceptance is realizing that you were never broken in the first place. You see, so I'm kind of with that. It has all been something of the energy you learn and internalized program. It's all been something. I can't read that where I write my writing. So, but anyway, the shadow work is programming. But maybe, we all need to deprogram instead of being reprogrammed. Okay? Shadow work is reprogram. You need to deprogram. So, and lean on Yahushua Mashiach and Yahuwah. The Most High is the one you're supposed to trust. And all things are possible through Christ, Yahushua Mashiach, Jesus Christ, y'all call him. Self-confidence comes from self-acceptance and understanding that you're not broken. The work is closely tied to demonic forces. It is. So I was not sure why in entirety, but battling your shadow's negative spirit, following you around sounds a bit like it. So depending on how you approach this, it's supposedly so-called work. People benefit from it, so I'm not going to argue with nobody about it. But I prefer spiritual work. However, it is closely tied. And I can review those issues to recognize my healing myself with the powers in Yahuwah and Yahushua Mashiach, the divine prime creator, and overcoming these uncomfortable regressions, and facing the trauma. It can sometimes trigger new negative reactions. And closing up and shutting down and revisiting pain and ugly past. It's no easy feat to mess with that. That's my point. I ain't messing with it like that. That's why I just don't mess with shadow work. And seeking forgiveness of self. You got to love the self. Loving your flaws. Loving everything about yourself and self-acceptance. Working on a new you in Christ. Yahushua Mashiach Jesus is all you need to be on your way. Trust in the Most High. Trust in Yahushua Mashiach's teaching. And get that crisis consciousness power. That's what you need. The shadow work you need to do is love yourself and then forgive yourself and forgive others. You could do all that through setting intentions, meditation, and prayer, okay? And you learn the self-acceptance using positive intent with protection over self-preservation on the self and your status and your control. Because with the protection of Psalm 91, Psalm 23, and Psalm 21, you'll be good to go and covered in that holy protection as you meditate and release intentions. It's basically very similar to shadow work. It's just shadow work. You're really pulling at things that you might pull back something that you really trigger something and can't clean that up. That's my thing. So why even mess with it? Because the root of all of those things that you're pulling at is fear. And you won't do well if you're pulling at that fear, seeking love in others, procrastination, fear of rejection, insecurities, fixing things, brokenness, body acceptance, all that got put aside. So we're going on to part 2.